If you have ever tried improvising a solo before and it just sounds like you're robotic, you're running up and down the scale and you can't make it sound good, or if you've never improvised before and you want to learn how to play musical solos over your favorite songs, in this video I'm going to teach you a simple step-by-step way to get started playing musical solos with just 3 to 5 notes. So grab your guitar and follow along with me throughout this video because by the end of it, you're going to be able to play a musical solo with just a few notes and no complex music theory is needed and you don't need to be a crazy technical guitarist to do any of this. So before we actually start improvising a solo, we need to talk about a few things. The first being keys, second is scales, and then the third, the most important, is phrasing. So if you're just getting started and you've never improvised before, my advice would be to, after this video, go to YouTube, go to the search bar and search up a backing track. So it could be any genre you want. You just type in guitar backing track, blues guitar backing track, right? Or a pop guitar backing track, rock guitar, whatever genre you want. And the good thing about backing tracks is usually in the title, they'll have a key. So you'll have a blues backing track in the key of A minor. That's a very common one. You're definitely going to see that if you search it up. And these are good because you don't need to take the time to figure out what the key is by ear. So the backing track will just tell you it. And then you need to understand what scales you can apply. So a general rule of thumb is if you're soloing over a song or backing track in a minor key, you can use the minor pentatonic scale or the minor scale. And then vice versa, if you're soloing in a major key, you can use the major scale or the major pentatonic scale. Now, if you have tried soloing before and you just can't get it to sound good, but you understand keys and how scales work in keys, then you can try to solo over a song if you'd like. But backing tracks are very good for practice because they're simple and there's no vocals, there's no other instruments that will get in the way of your guitar playing. So obviously it's good to know what key you're soloing in and what scales you can use in that key so that the notes that you play actually sound good together. But the most important thing when starting to solo and making it sound good is phrasing. So when you're trying to improvise a solo, I want you to think of it as a conversation between your guitar and your backing track or your song that you're soloing over. So when you are phrasing or creating phrases are like the sentences, right? They're the small, short sentences that make up the entire conversation. So what we want to do is we want to use a few notes in the scale that we're using. So if we're in the minor pentatonic scale, a good place to start is right in the middle of the scale because the notes are all meshed and close together. So it's easy to navigate and you won't get lost. So you want to start creating your little phrases. So a phrase could be 1, 2 notes. It doesn't have to be complex. And instead of just playing the note like you would normally pick or pluck a note with your fingers, maybe you could add some techniques like you could bend to a note, you could slide into the note, or you could pull off onto another note or hammer on it, whatever sounds good. But that's basically what phrasing is and why it's so important and how you can use only a few notes to make a solo sound good. I also want you to try to focus on phrasing and trying to focus on the rhythm when you're phrasing instead of the speed, right? Now, speed is great and speed will come down the line with practicing scales and doing exercises like that. But when it actually comes to soloing, if you can't phrase properly, you're not going to be able to make a solo that sounds musical and expressive, right? Because like it doesn't matter how much you shred and how fast you go on the guitar. If you can't phrase properly, it's not going to sound good. Take your favorite artist, for example. If you go on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever you use to listen to music and you play your favorite song and you go to the guitar solo, right? The artist might be playing fast, they might be playing slow, but they're phrasing. They're leaving space in between their lines. They're not playing a bunch of notes right after the other super fast. You know, they're properly structuring their solo by creating small phrases with just a few notes in them. And then they're moving on from that. So now I'm going to show you 2 examples. The first one, I'm going to just play in the minor pentatonic scale, up and down the scale, messing around with no structure, no phrasing whatsoever. Okay, and the second example, These both are going to be over a backing track, by the way. It's going to be in the key of A minor, so I'm going to use the A minor pentatonic scale. And in the second example, I'm going to create short phrases, 2 to 3 to 5 notes. I'm only going to use probably 5 notes maximum. I'm going to stay mostly inside of this pentatonic scale. I might go outside of it a little bit, but that's besides the point. You can really create good sounding phrases just within the pentatonic scale or the major scale or the minor scale, whatever scale you're using. So I want you to really try to listen to both examples and try to differentiate the two and see how what I'm demonstrating, see how if you can replicate, mainly don't replicate the notes that I'm playing, but try to replicate how I'm phrasing the notes. Okay, so hopefully you can hear the difference between those two clips, right? In the first one, I was just playing in the scale. At some points I was playing a little bit fast, I was going a couple faster runs, a little bit slower, but it didn't sound good no matter what I did, right? There was no structure, no phrasing. Now in the second clip, I started off with just a couple notes, and then I paused a bit. And that's what gives solos their structure, right? You structure a phrase. It's like a call and response kind of thing. That's what we call it, call and response. So you make a call phrase, and then you respond. You give some space, and then you can respond with something similar, but maybe you add a few things, you change something, you take something out, whatever it is. All right. So I hope you can hear the difference, and that's what I want you to practice. If you can do this and make it sound good, you are going to be so far ahead of anyone else who only knows one, like say you only know one scale, right? Compared to someone else who can noodle around in the scale. Maybe they can play really, really fast in the scale, but they can't phrase properly. If you can phrase properly, it just sounds so much better. So if you do this, what I did, like in the second example, every single day for 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna become like really good at improvising really quickly. And that's all it takes, is just 5 to 10 minutes of daily practice, consistent practice. And if you can make this sound good, this is what you want. You want to try to make one scale, a few notes sound good. Because if you can do that, then you're well on your way to becoming a great guitarist, and you're going to be great at improvising and soloing. And this is the first step to doing it. Taking one scale, creating small phrases, making it sound musical. So if you found this video valuable and helpful to you in any sort of way, and you want to keep growing as a guitarist and learning more about improvisation, soloing, music theory, just overall guitar progress, feel free to hit subscribe and leave your thoughts down below in the comments, because I'd love to read and reply to all of them. And in the meantime, if you want to go deeper with learning how to play expressive musical solos, visit the link in my bio or below the description of this video, either in the description or in my bio on my channel. And you can download my completely free guide. It's called the 5 Steps to Playing Expressive Musical Solos. And that has a bunch of information in there. Not just, it has some of this phrasing information in there as well. I call it phrasing like a singer. But it also has some other information on adding some other notes outside of the pentatonic scale, right? I call them the colorful notes. And these notes can just make your solos sound so much better when you know how to use them properly.